A highly classified medical emergency is currently being exposed within the highest levels of the corporate entertainment matrix today, revealing that the mainstream television industry actively suppressed a terrifying crisis surrounding one of its most valuable reality stars. When a 20-year-old pizza delivery worker named Sal Valentinetti walked onto the live primetime stage of America's Got Talent, network executives immediately realized they had captured a demographic goldmine. With a flawless, booming vocal register that effortlessly resurrected the ghosts of mid-century Las Vegas, he was instantly packaged and sold to the American public as the ultimate underdog success story. The network cameras meticulously documented his charming interactions with the judges, his tearful family celebrations, and his rapid ascent to the global finals, creating a highly sanitized narrative of overnight triumph. But our specialized investigative unit has spent days piercing through this carefully constructed corporate illusion, uncovering a deeply disturbing timeline that the media conglomerates deliberately hid from the voting public. Behind the roaring studio applause and the tailored retro suits, an incredibly dangerous physiological countdown had already begun.
The television network demanded a smiling, flawless performer to drive their multi-million-dollar advertising slots, completely ignoring the fact that their star asset was quietly deteriorating under an unsustainable level of physical and psychological pressure. This is not just a story about reality television fame. It is an active audit of how the entertainment machine routinely pushes independent talent to the absolute brink of human endurance, only to hide the evidence when the system finally breaks. To fully grasp the magnitude of the crisis that almost took his life, we must first analyze exactly how the television production apparatus weaponized his personal identity to manipulate the algorithmic viewing data. From the moment he secured his golden buzzer, the network's public relations architecture hyper-focused on his working-class Italian-American background, relentlessly marketing him as the lovable, heavy-set pizza boy from Long Island. While this specific character framing was a masterclass in generating instant domestic loyalty, it effectively trapped him inside a highly restrictive commercial box. Industry monitors point out that once an artist is locked into a highly specific reality television persona, they are immediately subjected to an exhausting, non-stop promotional circuit designed to extract maximum financial value before the seasonal trending cycle expires.
For a young man suddenly thrust into a relentless barrage of cross-country flights, mandatory press junkets, and high-stakes vocal performances, the environmental shock was absolute. Completely severed from his natural support systems and normal daily routines, he was forced to navigate the incredibly toxic, high-stress lifestyle of a touring commodity. Under this crushing corporate schedule, the very foundational metrics of his physical health began to quietly spiral out of control, masked entirely by the dazzling lights of his escalating public success. Data analysts reviewing his historical performance timeline have identified that during his absolute peak commercial visibility, his physical mass expanded to an incredibly volatile 315 pounds. Carrying this extreme level of structural weight while actively executing high-energy diaphragmatic vocal performances placed an incomprehensible level of strain on his cardiovascular infrastructure. While global audiences were downloading his jazz covers and driving up automated streaming revenues, his internal biological systems were operating in a permanent state of high-intensity redline. Medical professionals observing standard industry practices note that vocalists carrying this specific tier of extreme physical mass are exceptionally vulnerable to sudden catastrophic respiratory failures, especially when operating under chronic sleep deprivation and immense psychological stress.
Yet, because his heavier physical appearance was deeply tied to his lovable commercial brand identity, there was virtually no structural incentive from his corporate handlers to intervene or prioritize his physiological stability. The network simply needed the golden voice to continue hitting its scheduled marks, completely oblivious to the fact that the internal engine generating that voice was rapidly approaching total, unrecoverable failure. The horrifying breaking point occurred completely outside the view of the mainstream network cameras during a high-profile commercial window in Florida, resulting in a terrifying emergency that the industry aggressively scrambled to conceal. Without any immediate prior warning, his overtaxed biological system suffered a massive, sudden collapse, initiating a severe medical emergency that required instantaneous intervention by elite first responders.
Our tracking of this specific event reveals that he was rushed into acute medical care, facing a highly critical life or death ultimatum directly tied to his 315-pound frame. But instead of releasing this crucial information to his millions of dedicated followers, the entertainment industry's standard operating procedure engaged in absolute media blackout.
In the highly calculated world of corporate entertainment, an active medical crisis is immediately viewed as a toxic liability that can permanently devalue a touring asset and terminate lucrative sponsor contracts. Therefore, his near-fatal collapse was quietly scrubbed from the public narrative, categorized as a temporary scheduling conflict, while he lay in a highly specialized medical facility, fighting for his basic survival while his digital avatars continued to generate passive revenue online. Faced with the terrifying clinical reality that returning to his standard touring schedule would result in an immediate fatality, Sal made a highly dangerous independent decision to completely restructure his physical architecture through intensive bariatric intervention. This was not a superficial cosmetic procedure aimed at chasing Hollywood beauty standards. It was a desperate, high-stakes surgical gamble executed to literally save his internal organs from complete failure. Industry vocal coaches emphasize that undergoing massive structural surgery in the abdominal cavity presents an incredibly terrifying risk for a professional singer, as the slightest alteration to the diaphragm or abdominal wall can permanently destroy pitch control, breath support, and signature vocal resonance. He was effectively putting his entire multi-million-dollar talent on the surgical table, risking the absolute destruction of his career in order to secure his baseline survival.
While the television networks continued to broadcast repeats of his older performances, he was isolated in a highly rigorous, painful recovery process, forced to meticulously relearn how to generate his massive vocal power inside a completely altered physical body. When he finally broke his media silence and re-emerged into the public sector, the visual evidence of his transformation absolutely shattered standard internet retention metrics, as he successfully documented a staggering weight loss of over 130 pounds. The lovable, heavy-set television character had been completely eradicated, replaced by a highly disciplined, visually striking professional who had literally fought his way back from the edge of the abyss. But the true miracle of this extreme physical transition was not the visual aesthetic. It was the verified audio data proving that his elite vocal capacity remained completely flawless. By engaging in a highly methodical, unpublicized regimen of physical and vocal rehabilitation, he successfully adapted his breathing mechanics to his newly optimized frame, proving that his immense talent was hardwired into his neurology, not his physical mass. He completely defied the medical odds and the industry skeptics, successfully shedding a massive percentage of his physical weight without losing a single ounce of his legendary stage presence. Operating in the modern media landscape of 2026, it is fundamentally clear that his survival triggered a massive pivot in his overall corporate strategy, allowing him to completely bypass the predatory contracts that trap most reality show alumni. Instead of allowing the mainstream networks to dictate his creative output or force him into highly synthetic pop productions, he weaponized his hyper-loyal fan base to build an entirely self-sustained, independent empire. Current touring data confirms that he is commanding sold-out, high-revenue performances across elite venues completely on his own terms, maintaining absolute sovereign control over his commercial trajectory. Furthermore, he has actively hijacked the digital algorithm by launching his own highly successful independent podcast, Breaking Bread, bypassing the traditional corporate gatekeepers entirely to monetize his authentic personality directly with his audience. He took the television fame they tried to trap him in, survived the physical crisis they tried to cover up, and ultimately used their own massive exposure to fund a completely independent media infrastructure where he holds all the executive power. This aggressive investigation ultimately brings us to a definitive conclusion that completely shatters the artificial illusion of reality television fame.
The networks attempted to sell you a highly sanitized fairy tale about a pizza delivery boy who magically conquered the world with a microphone and a smile. But the hard, verifiable truth is an incredibly gritty narrative of extreme physical exploitation, a terrifying corporate cover-up, and a brutal fight for biological survival that took place entirely in the shadows.
Sal Valentinetti did not just survive the highly manipulative gauntlet of primetime television, he survived a catastrophic physical failure that was directly accelerated by the very industry that claimed to elevate him. Today, his booming voice stands as a permanent, undeniable testament to human defiance, proving that the greatest performance of his life wasn't on a television stage, but in his absolute refusal to let the entertainment machine dictate his final curtain call.